Welcome back to BroBanter. We're going to wrap up with the matchup of the week as well as the waiver wire pickups and busts of the week, as well as our studs, duds, and sleepers for the week. Brought to you by Canada Dry. Drink yourself one because it's fucking delicious. All right. Moving on to the matchup of the week. Does anybody have any qualms about this being the matchup of the week?
No, 1 versus 3. Big game.
Big game.
Absolutely. Can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that. So let's jump right into it. My opinion might have changed from last night. I don't know. I'm going to kind of talk myself through this one. I actually think I'm liking Steve's team a lot. I just don't think Kingston has the firepower to keep up with Steve this week. Austin Eckler still in RB1. So yeah, I'm going with Sub-Zero. Steve, commissioner, taking it down this week, beating Alex, and no longer having any undefeated teams left in the SFL. Brett?
Yeah, so I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm picking the heavy underdog, Alex Kingston.
Wow.
He's been getting it done with defense this year. Teams are scoring extremely low point totals against him, and I think that happens again this week.
Now he does have the lowest points against total in the league as well.
He does.
Which can't keep trending that way, or you shouldn't.
Yeah. So breaking it down by the positions, I think got to give the edge to Dak Prescott with Matt Ryan in a pretty tough matchup against an underrated Tennessee defense. Slight edge to Dak there on the bright lights in what could be a potential shootout game. At the wide receiver position, let's see. I think I give the edge to Kingston, who he's going to benefit from some solid matchups for two of his players, while Steve has some more difficult potential matchups. I think that Hardman has the magic stops for him this week. I think we're looking at a 1 catch for 7 yards type of performance from him. DJ Moore, it's hard to know what to expect with Kyle Allen under center, and Paul Richardson is what is he, the third option, fourth option in the passing game in Washington behind Scary Terry, Vernon Davis, and Chris Thompson. So I really don't like Richardson, even though it's a plus matchup. For Kingston, Smith-Schuster has a good matchup against a pretty poor Cincinnati team. Cook's not a great matchup. DJ Shark, though, I think he keeps it rolling. I think he puts up 20-plus points in this game against a pretty mediocre Denver team. I see him going for 8 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown. So that's going to be a big, big game for Kingston to narrow this projected point spread. At running back, Steve knows running backs. He always drafts running backs. He always has good running backs. You got to give the edge to Steve there. McCaffrey's a stud. I think Jacobs bounces back against Indianapolis. And Eckler, I don't love it as much because if you taking a look at what's actually happened in these Miami games is oftentimes the backup running backs are outproducing the starters or very close to it. And I think Justin Jackson might get a lot of run in this game. And, Eckler's going to have kind of a disappointing last game as the unquestioned starter. He's been an early season darling, but I think, the Cinderella ride stops here for Eckler. Looking at Kingston's team, Sanders, very tough matchup. Can't expect much against Green Bay with that much improved defense. A lot of free agent additions there in Green Bay, and they're really working out so far. Marlon Mack, love the matchup. I think that's also going to be a key component to my hot take on Kingston winning here. I think Mack runs wild against Oakland. I think he rushes it 22 times for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that's really what's going to propel Kingston to this victory here. I'm going out on a limb, showing faith in the first place team here.
All right, so Brett is taking Kingston. I'm taking Steve. James, where do you weigh in on this matchup?
Yeah, so Brett brings up some great points. Obviously, Justin Jackson, looking at him to have a big game. He's right. A lot of these second running backs against Miami have had big games, so that could be a good start this week, Hauk. And but I do think Austin Eckler is one of my studs of this game. we heard Melvin Gordon's coming back, so he has a chip on his shoulder now going into a contract year. He's a restricted free agent next year, so he wants those big bucks. So he wants to play well. He could very well be a reason why they're going to jump out to a big lead against Miami.
Okay.
Now, I do agree that Kingston's wide receivers may be stronger, but my dud of this game is, in fact, DJ Shark.
Wow, just talking about him.
And I know Brett loves him, but I don't trust Gardner Minshew. Denver has given up the fourth fewest points to wide receivers this year. DJ Shark's had an okay 18 targets, but that might go down as this is going to be a running game, in my opinion. So I'm going to take the Sub-Zero Steve's team to win, led by his fantastic group of running backs. Alex hasn't allowed over 106.18 points this year. But look for Preston Williams for Miami to be a strong flex play for the Bombers. But I got Sub-Zero winning in a close game. Bombers cover the spread.
All right. So you got Steve winning this game. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So we have 2-on-1 with favor is Steve, but James does think he's going to cover the spread. Let's jump right into this week's waiver wire heroes and zeros. Who do you guys have for this week's worst waiver wire pickup and why? James?
Worst waiver, Deontay Johnson from Houck, $13. I'm just not buying him. I don't think that's going to be a strong passing offense. I think Juju's going to dominate the targets and receptions this year. And I'm just not buying him as a player so much yet, and that passing attack.
All right. Brett, your waiver wire zero of the week.
Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate, but I'm gonna have to go with Wayne Gallman. He is the definition of a jag. It's a tough situation for Rocco. He needed help at running back, but I just don't think he returns value, especially after the Giants signed someone off the street. There's numerous guys that have come in there that are completely equal, if not better, than Wayne Gallman. So I think it's it's going to end up being wasted money. I understand that he had to do it, but I think he's going to severely be regretting all that fab that he spent on Gallman.
All right. So we're going the Gallman decision. I actually have to agree with Brett. That was my zero of the week was Wayne Gallman. He has proven that he is not a good running back on multiple occasions. So let's get, Brett, your opinion on this week's waiver wire hero. Who do you have?
So I'm going to go back to the well and go with Taco Supreme. I think that Chris Herndon was a phenomenal preemptive pickup. Obviously, Rocco is, using some foresight there, looking ahead. He's got a pretty weak tight end on his roster as it is with Tyler Eifert, who's completely touchdown dependent and a shell of his former self after all those injuries. So yeah, I like Herndon. He meshed well with Darnold very good in the season or late in the season last year. And Darnold's, very limited as a passer, probably one of the more overrated quarterbacks in the league, even though he's just getting his career started. And his limitations as a passer make him a good fit for playing with, his safety valve, his check down guy in Chris Herndon. He's going to play that big slot tight end role. Will line up inside and outside. So I like Herndon to be a nice under the radar pickup that I think is going to really pay dividends and help Rocco out.
All right. James, your waiver wire hero.
Yeah, well, I actually have some breaking news here about Casey Ferguson just coming in moments ago. We have a trade in the league.
Oh, how on the take?
Is trading away Stephon Diggs to Houck for Philip Lindsay. So that's Matt getting rid of Stephon.
He does.
This season. Going to Houck, who lost Antonio Brown, very desperate at that position. Obviously, Deontay Johnson, one of my worst waiver pickups of the week, getting Stiggs, but giving up Philip Lindsay. Early reactions to this trade, I think Houck might win it in the long run.
All right. I got Houck winning the trade.
I would have to agree with that. I just don't think much of Philip Lindsay. I think he's a nice player, but I think that Denver has demonstrated that they want Royce Freeman to be their guy and have Lindsay be the third down back. So I have limited opportunity set for Lindsay. I know he went off last week. Good job by Houck selling high there and getting, an undervalued asset at this point.
Yep, I agree. I think Diggs is bound to start having some good weeks. As everybody knows, I love Diggs. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. So
It's because you're a Vikings fan, right?
what's that?
It's because you're a Vikings fan, correct?
Hey, you watch your mouth. You watch your mouth, boy. All right. So James, your waiver wire hero.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the transaction now. Brett actually stole my hero. It was Chris Herndon. I think that's a great pickup. He should dominate the snaps and routes around for tight ends on the Jets. Adam Gase loves those short passes and really likes to use one tight end. But looking at another one to give you guys another option, how about Daniel Jones? Brett picked up for $6. Beat me out. I only bid at $5. I think Daniel Jones could be a solid startable quarterback moving forward. Obviously, losing Barkley, they'll have to throw a lot, you would think. A wait and see situation. He's not going to put up 30 points a game, but let's see what he does. I thought that was a nice low bid there that obviously worked out. Get rid of Cam Newton. Yeah, he probably can do that. I think that's a good pickup. So Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes. All right. So we will take one last commercial break. Have a 2-minute video after this. We'll see you in a few moments.